the meeting can start anytime.
We definitely have a quorum.
Yeah. It looks like you guys have quorum. So
we lost Kevin.
He's here.
He is? Oh,
Yeah.
there he is. Hi. Okay. Hi.
Joining us from old-timey New York.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. He's on mute.
So John,
Yeah.
here's a question for you. You never answered my email. When you sit in the kitchen, what is that machine that's over your shoulder? Is it a toaster or what is that?
Sorry, I meant to answer that. It's an ice cream maker.
It is.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Snazzy.
a summer treat for the kids. Love it. You know, if you're willing to put in the time, it really turns out pretty good ice cream. I'm
Great.
sorry I didn't answer
Awesome.
you know, it's been a little crazy.
Okay, I think we're gonna start. Hi, Claude. I think, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
And
Long time no see.
I know Sandy McKee is coming.
Yes,
As
well, we
well.
have Claire
I see
to
Claire,
represent
yeah.
transportation. So yeah, well, I think we're good. All right, Brendan, are we
What
good?
happened? Everybody disappeared. Oh, okay. Molly's still on her bicycle.
Brendan, are we all right?
Yep, we're ready. We're ready.
Okay, all right. So hi, everybody. Good evening. It's Manhattan Community Board 6 Executive Committee meeting. Today is August 19th, 2020, and we're starting at 6:33. So nice to see everybody. So the first item on the agenda, I'm Molly Hollister, chair of the board for 3 more months. And we're joined by Jesus Perez, district manager, and Brendan Berth, the associate for the office. And we're recording this, as you guys all know. So we do have Seema Shaw. Seema, you're right there. Sorry, I tried to see everybody. Seema Shaw is the secretary, and she'll be taking minutes tonight. So first order of business is to take attendance. Roll call, Seema.
Uh-oh.
Seema's on mute.
Somebody's on mute.
You guys could just unmute everybody. I don't think, and just stay muted if you're not talking, but can somebody unmute everyone? And
Sorry.
then just,
Here I go. I don't know why I was having a hard time.
oh, you were, okay.
For the Zoom. Okay. Hi, everyone. If you could just say that you're present verbally, that would be great. Kyle.
Present.
Thank you. Asia Abadi.
Present.
Beatrice Disman.
Present.
Molly Hollister.
Here.
John Keller.
Present.
Kavita Matthew.
Here.
Sandra McKee. I think I take it that Claire, or yeah, Sandra here. Sorry.
Not yet.
Okay. I'm here. Sandro Sherrod.
He won't be on the call tonight.
Okay. Corinne Vanderdonk.
Here.
Brian Van Nieuwenhoven.
Present.
Pam Vassell.
Here.
And Claude Winfield.
Present.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank
Okay,
We're at quorum, as mentioned.
thanks, Seema. All right, so we need to adopt the agenda that I think Brendan might be popping up on his screen for us. Oh, he already has it here. I have my screen hidden. So need to adopt the agenda. There's no objections. The agenda has been adopted. And then we did send out the July 15th meeting minutes, I think just a few days ago. So if everyone had a chance to read those, and if there are no objections, see no objections, the minutes have been adopted. Okay, and I'm cruising right along here, you guys. So I was just saying, like, I'm gonna hand it over to all you chairs because you have a lot going on, I know. So I have my, I'm probably moving too quickly, but I have my chair's report next. And I just got off a call with the other Manhattan community boards. About 8 community boards joined. And there was the first conversation about social justice and just kind of issues around inequities in Manhattan specifically, obviously. So we talked about education, inequities in education, healthcare, you know, a lot of the things that came out during COVID. And again, I had to jump off. I was probably on the call for about 25 minutes. but we got a lot kind of moving forward, and we'll continue those calls. And I think what they wanted to do is kind of have a task force. So maybe in our board, and I can bring it to the next executive meeting or send it to everybody, but have assign some folks from each committee, or there's 2 or 3 people from our board to join this monthly call and try to have some, solutions to some of these issues, gentrification and affordable housing. I mean, it's, there are a lot of issues. The elections, we're voting virtually for the elections in October. So we'll use that. Jesus, will you, I know you sent something earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to see it, but I think we're just using our same process that we used.
Yes.
We're using now. Okay.
Yeah, we just sort of slightly different, but it's the same look. And we'll just deploy that and use that as a separate ballot.
Okay. Okay, good. So that was kind of a sticking point. We weren't sure how we move forward with that, but that seems to be workable. And then we have assigned some new chairs and vice chairs. Moving forward, there are a few people that were term limited out and just trying to move people around to fill spots. So as of September 1st, but I think there'll be some transition period. We've moved Adam Hartke to chair of Land Use and Waterfront. Woo! Yay, Adam's like, oh. And
come through.
I think Sandro will continue on and stay on as long as kind of that transition is needed. So we'll make that work. And then we have moved Rick Eggers into the role of the full budget committee. So he's signed on for that. Woohoo! Thank you, Rick. And Brian's will stay on and give him guidance as well. And hopefully that'll just be a nice transition, and we'll make some changes there. And then Kevin O'Keefe, who joined us tonight, he is vice chair of Parks Committee. Yay! So yeah, woohoo! And last but not least, we have, actually Rich Mintz has that been official for a long time? Rich Mintz has been, that's been official for a while, right?
Yes.
He's vice chair. Rich Mintz, he's on housing, homeless, and human rights. He's been vice chair for a while, so maybe that's old news. But the other news is Sandy was term limited out of her transportation role, and so Claire Brennan, and we're still kind of working out the kinks here. So again, transition time. But Claire, Sandy, and Jean will be kind of leading that team. So we have some kind of co-chair situations for a while there in transportation. But I want to thank everybody. I mean, Sandro and Brian and everyone that's done, worked, Sandy, of course, that has done all this great work in the committees. And I know everyone's staying on the board and will continue to move the agenda forward. We have a lot of work to do. So I did send a note to 13th and 17th precinct on their closed streets. And I've talked to them, and they're still they're saying they've opened them up to pedestrians. But I think we just need to keep putting pressure on them to open their streets. There are some issues, so we should keep talking about it. I mean, we just need to work together. So hopefully we can start working with the precincts and, have them kind of communicate more. I know there's a build-a-block for my 17th precinct part D at 1 o'clock on Saturday that I'm going to at St. Barton's Park. So I think the build-a-blocks are still moving forward. The precinct community council meetings are happening, but for some reason the precincts are only doing them in person. They don't Zoom. So it's a little, I'm trying to pressure them to, get up to speed here and have some of these meetings on Zoom or some other, online tool, but they're insisting on having public, in-person meetings, which is kind of, it excludes a lot of people.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, and that's all I have. I might be missing something, but I think that's all for now. And then I'll let Jesus give the district manager's report.
Hello, everyone. We've got a lot to discuss today, so I'll actually keep my report super short. A few weeks ago, the office sent out an email asking for all members to complete a form for the identifying information law. It just sort of tells the office so we can have on file what information of yours, personally identifiable information of yours, like your email, your phone number, things like that, your address, that you're okay with us revealing to agencies, to elected officials' offices, or outside parties, and what you're not. If you haven't already done that, please fill it out. We've sent a reminder, and if you if you see your committees, please remind them to fill it out as well. But that's it.
Oh, awesome. Okay, thanks, Jesus. All right, so let's move into the committees. We're starting up a new year. We had this long, relaxing summer break, right? Is that?
Oh yeah, it's so relaxing.
Oh my God. So here we are, September, and so we're kicking it off again, starting with Pam Bassel, Chair of Parks.
Okay, so Kevin and I will alternate on a couple things, but I have three very quick questions. First, what is the logo that was on the stationery before? Was that the borough president's logo? What was that, Brendan? Do you know? Okay.
Logo for
it's the
like
New York
letterhead?
seal, right?
There's a round seal on the upper left-hand corner.
It's a New York State or New York City seal.
That's a city seal.
Okay. Next, there are going to be demonstrations on Saturday for the post office. So if you're interested in participating, you have to go look online and see which post offices there are demonstrations in front of. And the other thing is, does anyone know where the election boxes are going to be? Because people say, oh, you can fill out your ballot and drop it off. But
Pam, let's go over your agenda first.
okay, all right.
We can talk, how about that old and new business? Is that anything, that's not on your agenda, is it?
Well, I was going to mention it. So, all right. So we want to have a discussion on the East Side Coastal Resiliency Project. I don't know who's going to do that. Maybe Sandro could do something and just give us an update on what's going on, how it's been stopped or whether it's still moving forward. Because
it's still moving forward, and I can speak to it. I was at the CAG. I'm on the CAG, and Sandro's on the CAG, but he's not. We've only had 2 so far, but he's unable to join. So maybe Adam or someone else from land use can start attending those. I'll keep attending, but I can do that. Oh no, I'm not going to be here. I can't do that.
Okay, so somebody needs to do just a quick update so that we all know what's going on.
I can do it. I can pop in.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, I want to switch number 3 with number 2 because I think that will cover number 2 actually if we switch it. So Kevin and I were speaking about how we could help with the classroom situation, the outdoor situation, by talking about whether some of our parks could be used for classrooms. And we were quite earnest about this since the city is quite also earnest about finding spaces. So I think there are parks that would lend themselves, and I wonder how you feel about it. Because number 3, which Brendan just switched around, we were thinking of how the POPs could be used maybe in that capacity, but we weren't sure if the bylaws of how the POPs work prohibit that from happening. But
well, Sandy and John both have been working on that, so I don't know if they want to speak to that. If you have any sense of how that.
Yeah, there are two things here. One is we have a very specific request that we could get into when Claire and Sandy or Claire is speaking, related to PS 59, which is a unique situation with a couple thousand students between PS 59, the High School of Art and Design, and the District 75 school within PS 59. And we can discuss that, at the appropriate time. And then there's a broader issue that I'm sure Claire and Sandy will want to address as to the use of public space for schools. Keith Powers, for example, has written a very strong letter on this, and I know that Ben Kalos has been involved. And so these are 2 areas where we could, possibly have resolutions, you know, in support certainly of the PS 59, which we will hold until we discuss that, but also more generally in terms of making, you know, streets available to, you know, and flexible for use by schools during the school day.
Okay, so I just want to ask a question. If we were to do some parks and use the parks for schools,
Okay.
we'd have to have tents and heaters. I know they're doing that uptown. They're going to use some of the parks and they're putting up tents and they're getting heaters. I'm just putting it out there because I think if we've got the park space and the schools need classrooms, you know, I think it's incumbent upon us to step forward on this. Kevin, you can certainly jump in now if you'd like.
Well, I was just going to throw out what John did. Keith did send a letter to the mayor about this, and I don't know if there's an update on that, but it's, I've heard from a number of parents, as Pam knows, about this, and want to see what the community can do to find space outside, especially on nice weather days. So no update other than I would love to see if Keith has an update.
Sandy has something.
I was just going to say it
Sandy.
might be better to actually approach schools and see if there's a park that's appropriate for them.
That's good.
You know, there are 2 schools in our district that actually reached out to us and had a pretty clear idea of how they wanted to use the space. So
did they indicate the parks? Which ones?
No.
Oh.
They wanted to use the streets, and it was more to access the building, you know, to have social distancing it's ready to go to school. And the other thing is the street is adjacent to the school. So it makes it more convenient. So it's maybe pinpointing what park could actually be utilized.
So how do we obviously we have a list of our schools. Do we want to have somebody ask that question?
I think it's to the DOE. I mean, I can certainly reach out and see.
Well, but I think Sandy's right. I think the first thing is to ask the schools, like, what do you want to use a park? What parks are nearby? Like, what would you recommend? You know, but they might not want to use a park. They might say, no, thank you. We don't want.
But I'm saying that the DOE has not come out officially to say that they're looking for parks. So that might be the first question. I know that Lander, is that his name? Lander, yes, has said that he wants to use outdoor spaces, and there have been a number of electeds who said yes, but nothing official from the DOE. So I'm going to ask the DOE, you know, unofficially, I'll ask my daughter and see what she knows of it. And then I think we can reach out to the schools. But I wanted to bring it to you guys, because if you're not in favor of this, you know, it's something that we should be talking about. But
we're in favor of that.
Can I just add in? Do you mind, Molly?
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole thing is I do think it really should be school led, because they know what they're going to be comfortable with and what would be close to them. Because I do worry about security and safety. Even like when kids are in the playgrounds that are fenced in, they're worried about kids. You know, they don't have to worry about a kid slipping out. I can't imagine how you would use public space in a way that a child wouldn't disappear. Random people couldn't kind of come in the area. So security issues are a big piece. And I think a lot, and in general, Pam, I would love to hear what your daughter is hearing, where she's coming from the school side. The schools are being really left to figure out what they need to do for their own school and what works best. And they're being given very little guidance, it feels like. So, you know, I mean, we should just support what they need, and if there are options that they would want to.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, the thing with the parks is it sounds like a great idea, but then as you point out, security and everything, and if it's not proximate to the school,
right,
it's getting kids to and from it. Whereas the streets, which Sandy and I have been dealing with, you know, that's very specific. The street goes by the school, you know, and we need to figure out how to use the street if the school wants it. But I think if a school identifies a need, they have a park nearby and they're comfortable with using it, then which might be more true on the farther Upper East Side than our area. That certainly sounds completely like a good idea. I just
okay. So
okay, let's move the agenda. Okay, let's keep talking, and we can get back.
Let's just make a plan. I'm going to check with my daughter, and you guys are going to check on John. You'll check with the schools. How, you know, How is that going to work? I just don't want to leave it floating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, as I think about the schools that I could visualize, you know, you have Baruch, which has a really large outdoor area, which is.
So let's have, maybe the office could just ask each school
Right.
if we want to do that. I don't
Why
know.
don't we
like
just go around to the schools in the district?
But who's going to do that? Do you want the office to do that?
That would be much better.
That would be great. That would
Just
be
each
great.
school and ask if they're interested in using the open space or park.
Open
That would be
space.
great.
And
And then I just wanted to say, Pam, your agenda is very long. And I feel like we need to, like, maybe some of them are the same thing, that we're talking about open space during COVID for schools, play. I don't know. I feel like this is
Well, no, so let me get on with it really fast, and you'll see that some of it blends into the other, okay?
Mhm.
If we go to number 4, Kevin, you want to address that?
Well, yes. We know there's limited space, obviously, for recreation and parks. Question is, for the development of anything that's going to happen with the sanitation garage, if that's indeed a possibility, has there been any discussion of using the rooftop or anywhere on the grounds for recreational space?
Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't put that on your agenda, though. That's a very, not a parks issue necessarily, but if there is a sanitation garage going there definitely will be a lot of open space and community space. I mean, we're talking about the roof and other space, but the sanitation garage, if it ever happens, it will have open space and
Okay, so then let's take it off the agenda. We just put it on because it was a thought that we had, and what better place to discuss it than here? So sure, whisk it off. But as long as we can come back to it.
Absolutely, yeah, and it'll come back to us before
Okay.
you want it to.
Kevin, do you want to go to the sports discussion, since it's near and dear to your heart?
And which number are we, Pam?
We're
4
up
now.
to number 4.
Sports and
Yeah.
parks.
The sports and parks.
Well, it's happening. I mean, there are people are up playing basketball and other things. There's organized programs going on. So
what about the hoops? Did
They're
the
back.
hoops come back?
if
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want to get back into the hoops, I think we really need to get some response back from Partnership for Parks. I mean, I put on the gas on this, as you know. I'm waiting to hear back from Ashley from Partnership for Parks. And that's pretty much the status. Will I reach out to her again once a week? Yes, I'm going to continue to, but I have not heard back on this.
So we have hoops, we just don't have the nets, because I know all the playgrounds
the hoops and the nets, if there were some, and they're very limited. They went up in the same condition that they were taken down, which was really, really disappointing, because we were told the main reason why we couldn't put nets up was because they didn't have the man and woman power to put those nets up. Well, they took down, as we know, hundreds of nets and hoops in a short period of time. So they did have the power to do that. And then I had put a request in, before we put these up, can we throw nets in there? And I actually said, we have a group of parents that are willing to put up some seed money so we can get some nets, at least in CB6, if not wider. I know the borough president's office has been involved in this as well with Brian. Look, we got people willing to spend money and to put up nets, and we're not getting a response. I think you can hear the passion in my voice.
And so sports and parks, maybe that's not, I mean, do you want to just give an update at the end under old and new business?
Sure.
For that meeting, and just say, because that sports and parks, it is happening. I mean, I didn't realize the hoops were the old crappy hoops, but I see they're all, the basketball courts are full. Okay, so let's take that off, and then you guys can touch on that. And I mean, I'll donate. I'll give some money for some. We have money. The borough, our community board has money. We could probably donate, right? We could.
Okay.
Can we use
I
our
think we just need permission to put them up. I know there's liability issues, but.
Yep. B, yes.
Yeah, I think, we have street fair money. It's meant to be used for the community.
Yep.
Why wouldn't we do that and not have parents reaching into their pockets? But you have to deal with the liability and how you put them up.
Well, I think that Kevin's point is that the parks and partnerships for parks are not willing to, they don't want to do it quite yet, or they just I mean, if we have the money, I don't know what's the,
Well, if we have the money, Kevin, when you reach out to them, you have more now to offer and see how far you can push it.
Well, that's just it. I just need a response. I mean, we've said that we can sign a waiver. We don't have to hold anybody harmless in this. We'll put up our own ladders, and if we fall and break something, you know, we don't mind signing something. We just want these things up.
Rick is shaking his head. Rick, why are you shaking your head?
No, the city's is kind of touchy about liability issues. I don't think you can waive your liability, but it's just a sideline. I think it's a great thing to pursue, find out the information. And
yeah,
I think it's a great use of our street fair money.
Absolutely.
I mean, about time we used it for something, and it's about time we used it for something like that.
That's
in
great.
addition to some of the other places in town, like you know, the MLK Towers in Harlem, they've done a tremendous job in building those courts, and they always seem to be pristine. I visited up there a few times.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So
Adam
status.
Adam Harkey requests the floor.
Adam?
Yeah. Sorry. I
Thank
think
you, Jesus.
I think within that discussion, I think a bigger thing that you probably want to press Wes and Parks in general. I don't know if it's just the committee or the office, but Parks is slated to have a massive budget cut. So I think one of the things that you might want to get a handle on is what sort of funding they're going to be working with sort of in the immediate future and next year as well. I think that's a great thing to sort of press Wes on if you can get an answer.
Okay, but it's really not, you know, we could get nets for $12 a shot. So it's really not a huge money issue that we.
No, this is beyond basketball. Like this is
Parks budget. Yeah, that's a good issue.
Right.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Right.
Okay, so status on construction at Sky Cove Park. Are you talking Solar One or are you talking ESCR?
No, I think it was a Solar One issue. I
think you need to say Solar One or say, I don't know, actually maybe what they've asked us to do is write a letter. We have it in our budget requests in the past, and there's some urgency right now. Solar One is, you know, as some of you might know, that they have a proposed new building, and EDC came back, or whatever the design firm came back, that's like, I don't even know how many more millions of dollars over the initial budget. So they're, you know, they're struggling because they want to move this forward. The East Side Coastal Resiliency is happening now. So Solar One wants to move forward with some of this project now. So there's some big urgency, and, you know, Chris Collins keeps emailing and copying all of us and the elected officials to EDC and saying, please help, let's move this forward. What do we do? So I would like us to write a letter, Pam, and the two of us could just write a letter in support. I mean, I think it's already on our budget requests for them to have a new building and under capital. And so we just need to support that. Is that okay?
You know, I guess I just, you know, I'm so cautious because I know the city is in such terrible financial straits, you know what I mean? So you know.
Well, we're in support of it. So it's your committee, but our whole board is, the board is in support of this project.
Sure, so we'll write a letter.
Yeah, and I don't know how, you know, and our elected officials are trying to push it as well. It's not they're not asking to spend more money. They're asking to just keep the project moving forward. So,
okay.
So anyway, so I don't know if do we want to have that on there? Maybe there is an update. Maybe Chris Collins would come and speak to the Solar One issue at that September 1st, which is just like in a week and a half.
Maybe, or we'll just send the letter and I'll mention it in the old new business that's what we've done.
And I bet he wouldn't mind joining the committee or joining that meeting. So I can just say, please, you know, attend if you want to speak. Okay. Okay,
great.
Thank you. So we can take 4 off. Construction of Stuyvesant Cove.
And okay, so Wes will come and speak, and we'll be sure to ask him about the budget questions, and we'll ask him ahead of time so he's prepared. And in terms of I don't know, the things that I wanted to discuss, I've sort of discussed already in these one, two items here about the schools. The old business and kind of new business is the statue in Stuyvesant Park. That has become a deal. And Kevin sent me some articles that existed in the Post and other places. And Kevin, do you want to talk about what the issues were, about what a good guy he was?
Well, I'm not a peer.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
But I think the research that's been done has been pretty thin. No disrespect to the rabbi, but we have to. The park, Stuyvesant Park, was not named for Peter Stuyvesant. It was named for his one of his descendants who was born more than 100 years after the governor died. So we got to be careful on, saying we're going to get rid of the park because of anything to do with Peter Stuyvesant. His descendant was a philanthropist. His wife and he donated their farmland to build that park. We just got to be careful that just before we start talking about, and the headline I saw was from the rabbi was, please tear down Stuyvesant. I mean, we just have to be careful because Astor Levy.
Change the name. Change the name is what they want, to change the name.
They want to change it to Astor Levy, and Astor Levy, although he did some tremendous things, especially for the Jewish population of New York back in the day, he did flay animals alive for public amusement at his slaughterhouse on Wall Street, and he campaigned for the Jewish population to have the right to bear arms, which was great, equality. But he wanted to do that to shoot Indians, to Native Americans. So I think we have to be careful here to just really do.
Well, how do you want to handle this? Because people have emailed me and said, we would like to have this on the, at Community Board 6, we'd like to discuss. Maybe you just bring it up at Old and New Business. And if, again, a few people have emailed, I can say they can attend if they want to speak publicly about it. I don't know.
I think we should put it on the agenda if it's an issue and people are talking about it. I definitely think we should hear them out and go from there.
Well, do you want to leave it under Old and New Business? Because you put it on the agenda. Okay, thank you. If you put it on the agenda, then you might have a giant turnout of.
Well, we don't need a giant turnout, so let's put it under Old New Business.
So you will bring that up, though. I'll let them know. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right.
And okay.
So I have Waterside Pier and NY Langone parking. We're still continuing to talk to parks about improvements to both of those. NYU Langone parking is at 34th in the river and the waterfront, and then Waterside Pier is 37th to 41st Street, 38th to 41st Street. So we're continuing to talk to them. So at some point, Sarah wants to come, she'll come to your committee, but
not yet.
But it's already September 1st, right? And then the other thing is Glick Park has a sinkhole. And so the office is trying to determine exactly where that is. And there's some really makeshift crime scene tape that keeps getting put up every day and torn down every day.
Right.
So we're trying to determine that. So the office is on that. So just
so has the Parks Department not stepped up to really block it off so no one dies there?
No, it's a heavily used spot because it's all where the pull-up bars are. So everyone, there's a lot of topless men there working out all the time. So it's very, very heavily used, like nonstop all day long. It's probably 4 or 5 people right, I think where the sinkhole is, right there. And they put barricades and crime tape up around it every morning, and then probably by 8:30 in the morning, it's all strewn apart and people are using it for the day. So you can't see a sinkhole there, but you know how sinkholes are, they can appear magically in a short time.
And expand.
We need to identify that because Parks, Wesley and the person that works on that park, Renee, are giving us 2 different stories.
So we'll get Wes to give that as part of his report with the budget.
Thank you. Hopefully he's has good information for us.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, can we move the agenda? Are you good? Okay, all right. Transportation Committee, Sandy, or I guess Claire, I don't know who.
Claire's gonna do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, so the first item is actually going to be a presentation from Sam Schwartz himself. He used to be high up at DOT and now has his own consulting firm. So he's talking about the Queen's Ribbon, which is a bridge that they are proposing that actually puts out in Community District 6. we're going to have a continued discussion led by two members. Oh, sorry, Sandy, I forget who was talking about this. Andrew?
It's Ann and Andrew.
Ann and Andrew. And kind of about changing parking designations in our district. And then I think we're going to take the third item off of the agenda, right, Sandy? Or are we going to talk about it?
I don't know, because they haven't completely opened the streets yet.
Right.
So we had talked about doing a resolution to ask them to please open the streets.
It can't hurt to do a resolution. I think we wrote a letter, but they're still insisting that there's violence and crime and violent protests happening while they're closed off. You see that all over the city, violent protests.
The precinct, right?
I tried to talk to them. What?
Right.
The fact we're asking them to open up the precinct street. Yeah, is that what we're saying? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they've been like blocking off traffic and people who are walking who don't live on the block. It is an issue, so I think that definitely keep it on. Sorry, I thought I was confused there too.
Can that say? You might want to say resolution. I don't know. That's maybe old school. In the past, we've said resolution regarding
on
the agenda.
Yep, we can add that. And then finally, talking about two specific Play Street proposals that we got that Sandy had mentioned earlier tonight already. And then I think we also want to kind of have more of a general discussion about, what can be offered to schools in the district and think about how to reimagine streets.
And that could be that conversation with parks too, right? With parks?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I guess just that John and I had discussed today that maybe there are two resolutions, one very specifically for PS 59, because they have put it together so clearly. And then just another one that asks for using streets for schools in a more general way for the whole district.
Yeah, on the PS 59, first of all, I really want to thank Sandy and Matt Bondi for doing a lot of work on this. It's a detailed resolution, which we have the support of Keith Powers and Ben Kalos. We've got the 17th precinct behind it. I mean, they've really done a heck of a job getting this thing nailed down. So we would like this to be a joint resolution of the Transportation and Health and Education Committees, urging that the 56th Street between 2nd and 3rd be blocked off. We're going to start by asking for the entire school day and be ready to, accept that perhaps they'll do it for drop off and pick up.
Okay, so that needs to say possible resolution, and then it's PS 59, right?
It's PS 59, right?
It says PS 56 on this, so.
Okay. 59.
And then I know there are other schools that have asked because
Right,
PS 281.
Well, the school that we also have a letter from the principal of the High School of Art and Design supporting this. We've got a letter from Keith Powers, Ben. I mean, this reso is well backed.
No, John, we have other schools that, like, I think what Molly's saying is.
I got that.
Yeah. So we'll do the general one to say any school.
Yeah, that's the point. There would be two resolutions, one very specific to 59 because this is the only place in the district where we have like 2,000 in the zone where we have like 2,000 kids coming to school every day in the high school.
So I'm not sure how we say that on here. Discussion on a possible resolution regarding school play streets.
Yeah, in general.
In general and specifically, I mean, I don't know how.
To PS 59, yeah.
And one specifically, yeah. Okay.
And in fact, I would like to go so far, since Sandy's meeting is and Claire's meeting is on the 2nd of September, and the Health and Education Committee meeting isn't until the very end of September. I would actually, assuming that transportation passes the PS 59 reso, I'd like to, get the Health and Education Committee, I think this has been done in the past, together 10 minutes before the full board meeting in September to vote the resolution through so that we could present it as a joint resolution to the.
Or we could have them ask them to attend this meeting. Is that, I don't know if you want to do that, but we could ask them to attend.
Oh, to attend Sandy's meeting.
Yeah.
And Claire's meeting. Yeah, we could do that, and if they could just do it at the beginning, if you don't mind, that they could.
The vote, how would you do the vote, Molly? Could they go into a breakout room and separately vote?
I suppose, or they don't need to separate. I don't think we've done it in the past in a full board, in a committee meeting, and there've been a joint resolution and all committees vote, like, maybe not together, but they're all there present together voting. They don't separate out. So I don't think you have to do.
Yeah, whatever the office says is the proper way. And the reason we're doing this is the Department of Transportation, as Sandy will observe and Claire will observe, is dragging its feet on giving these approvals to the schools. So we really want to push this.
Okay, so is that okay? Are we doing that? Having a joint, at least for that one item for this, maybe that could be the first item or second item. Maybe you guys want to stay for at least watch Sam do his thing on the.
Oh yeah, no, I enjoy it. I just would like just for the rest of the committee to give them the chance to bug out if they want.
Yeah, so maybe the second item.
Second, if we can make it second. It's just
whatever works for you guys. It's your committee.
I mean, Sam Schwartz doesn't very often attend a meeting, so this is.
But you're going to have to keep him edit him too, right? Like 10 minutes, Sam. Yeah. I was going to say before we move on, I think Parks Committee is 9/1. Do we have it? Is that the right date? Okay, that's the right date. That's not Labor. No. Okay, that's not Monday. I was thinking it was Monday.
No,
Labor Day. Okay.
Would be Tuesday.
Got it. Okay, sorry. All right, so Claire?
Oh, I'm sorry. And the agenda item is going to be revised to say a general discussion of play streets as well as a specific discussion of PS 59's play street.
Yes,
that's possible rezos.
With rezos related, yes.
Was it two separate agenda items then, or?
Up to you.
No, I'd make it all one. Keep it short.
Okay, and it's a joint transportation, health, and education committee meeting.
Yep. And John, you can inform your committee that they don't need to stay. You could say, hey, it's a second item and we'll vote on it.
We just need a quorum to vote on it, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And I'm guessing we might actually do a reso in support of the Queen's ribbon too. So I don't know if you have to say possible reso for that as well.
That was a convention we had a while back. It sort of fell out of use a while back. If we're bringing it back, we can, I guess, but we just need to be consistent.
No, that's old school. I know that. I was used to doing that before. So.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so transportation, what else?
So I think that we are going to reach out to Colleen and send her some questions so she's prepared to speak to all of us, asking about open streets in general, implementation of the 38th and 39th Street bike lanes, and then also the 2nd Avenue temporary lane that has kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get an update on that.
Else to add to that.
That it? Okay, and I was going to say, so I was talking to the office about requesting stats for red lights and speeding throughout our district, and I didn't know if they needed exact locations or how we do that, because it's just bad right now. The traffic is coming back strong, and there was already a lot of speeding and red lights, before, during, and now, as the traffic comes back. But it's just, I don't know. Again, the police are kind of stepping back on some of their priorities, so that's definitely not a priority for them at all, is to monitor speeding. And I don't know, Jesus, what was the last when we talked the other day? How are we?
Colleen said that if we want information to that effect, we would have to foil it. So fine, have it her way. We have foiled it, and we will inform you guys once we get something from them, and then we'll see what we can make of it, and if we need to request additional information.
The police each district has stats on this, the police themselves, how many tickets they've given out.
When we reached out to the police, they have.
That's not what we're asking, Sandy. We're not asking tickets. We're asking for, just like do they have, I I mean, is that what we're getting, Jesus, is just tickets? Because they're not ticketing anyone. That's the whole point. They're not
No.
ticketing. There are cameras everywhere in the city, and I'm not seeing, you know, I don't know.
If cameras are issuing tickets.
I don't know if that's even a thing. I was asking, like, if we could buy our own cameras, if we could stand out there with a radar gun. I mean, I don't know. Like, somehow it's got to, like, it's getting bad.
I got you.
But like the police, they have records, you know, going back historically too.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying, Molly.
What? How do we do that? Am I being crazy?
No, I mean, like, so you can potentially wildcat it, or I see if they want to be a partner in that, in sort of confirming what the new normal is.
And that, what are you saying, the NYPD or DOT?
Potentially NYPD, because you would want to put it on like the actual physical infrastructure, right? Or at least get a permit to stand there and do it.
Yeah.
Like you would like a traffic count or something.
So what are we, can I ask the question, what are we foiling? If we're not sure what statistics that they have, what do we ask them for?
We asked them for red camera violations.
So is that what the NYPD?
Both
NYPD has?
open and closed violations, because on open data, they do have red camera violations that are closed, I believe, but not the open ones. And to get the full set, we needed to foil that.
Why are they closed? Do we know?
We don't know.
They've been paid.
I guess we could just see what they have. So is that just the same information that NYPD has?
No, when we reached out to the NYPD, they were like, no, we don't think we have that. So either we're not reaching out to the right people there, or they're not interested in that. They're not interested in helping us. But essentially, neither the folks we've reached out to DOT or NYPD have been particularly helpful in helping us find the information that we're seeking. So we're starting with this foil, and then we're going to try to piece it together, which is oftentimes, unfortunately, what you have to do when dealing with other city agencies.
So this is about specifically the cameras, right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I just wanted.
Who manages the cameras?
DOT.
DOT?
Yeah.
And who issues the fines? Is it on behalf of the city, or is it NYPD? Is it the state?
Yeah, I think it's like the DMV or.
DMV. So that might be a state issue. You might have to foil from the DMV or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe just to be clear, you guys want to know how many red lights are run in our district.
Yeah, and I mean, aren't there don't we have speed cameras too?
Tons of them, I think.
By the schools.
So we want how many people are caught by cameras speeding, and also how many people run red lights in our district. That's what we want.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And if they need just specific, and Carlina Rivera said, the Councilmember Rivera said that she could get that for us as well, but I haven't followed up with her, but maybe she has an easier in, I don't know. But she is concerned about it as well. I mean, I think our electeds are very concerned about it, too. And again, we support congestion pricing. That would be nice to have that back on the transportation agenda as well, to write a resolution on congestion pricing, not in September, but we should be writing that. And I don't think we did. We supported Move New York, not congestion pricing, right? We should do we don't have a resolution on congestion pricing. Anyway, I don't know if we support it, but to discuss congestion.
We supported Move New York, which was the basis of
actually, Cody did reach out to Katie at Rivera's office, and she informed him that they don't have that kind of data. So,
okay.
So
Carlina was being too eager.
Yes, that's fine. But now that we have a clearer sense of what you guys are seeking, we will track it down.
Okay, thank you.
And sorry, not to elongate the discussion, but we did have it minuted that someone asked if we could have public safety again as part of the agenda for transportation. And we may want to, I don't know if that's new business for the whole board, but some of these issues that are police related, people on our committee thought that it should be on the transportation agenda.
Yeah, I think we've done that before, and I feel like it's always gets to be too big of an agenda, or if we have a separate committee, it's every time we've done this, we've separated out, it's gone away, we pull it back together. I mean, I don't know, Rick could speak to it, Claude could speak to it, some of you be, but I think maybe like depending on the issue, they could come to transportation. Depending on the issue, they could come to human housing, HHHR, and human rights issues, because some of them are human rights issues, right? I feel like depending on the issue with NYPD, it might be different committees. BASA, it might be a BASA issue.
And parks too.
Oh yeah, Corinne.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because yeah, it did come up, and so I intend to attend the CB5 Public Safety committee that is coming up soon, just to kind of get a sense of what exactly are you, because yes, it just, I mean, public safety is such a holistic conversation, and I'm curious to see what happens in the public safety committee at CB5, and I will report back if it's at all interesting.
Great, thank you. Okay, anything else for transportation? Okay, thanks guys. All right, so let's move on to Kavitha, 197A working group.
Yes, I know the agenda looks misleadingly short, but we've been pretty busy putting together we had a revised report, revisions submitted by Bennett Midland from the consultant. Those are all finalized. We also have been working diligently, several people on our committee, on putting together a website, or kind of a subdomain of our website, the CB6 website for MSBI updates, called Perlman Place Community Planning. The idea for this meeting, and I don't think I've been really busy, so I don't know if I've expressed it properly, but we did want to invite, I had spoken to Brad Korn. I would love to have somebody, a representative from MSBI, give us an update, because we really haven't been able to get any clear information, partly because I don't think they know exactly what their direction is right now, given the circumstances. So ideally, it would be good to have a representative from there speaking, and if we can get the website up and running as we hope to before this, that would announce this first meeting as you know.
Were you able to talk to him?
Yeah,
okay.
That was a few weeks back, and he basically said, everything's up in the air, we're reassessing, and we haven't even come together yet. And I let him know that we are putting together this information based on what we knew before the pandemic hit, and whatever information we have. So letting him know that we're going to keep them looped in, because we don't even know if all the information we have is correct and up to date, and may change.
And Kavitha, I think financing now everything's changed, right? Everything's changed. So people real estate folks are looking to invest in these community, planning projects, and their affordable housing. It's all.
I think there's like there's a whole opportunity here that's what I want to speak to, and that's what he was saying too. Luxury condos aren't in a way as much of a threat as they were before, because everybody's moving out of the city, supposedly. I don't know if everyone is, but not be as much of a an option to just get their money and run. So anyway, given all of that, I really would like to have an update, because the information we're putting there is based on things that are a little bit old. We don't even know which properties, which parts, bits and pieces. So how to clearly state that on the agenda. We'd like to get an update from them. We'd like to, let them know what we're doing on our end, and then we'd like to start a community engagement process.
Kavitha, the reason your agenda is a little bit vague is because given that we haven't yet secured Brad Korn, we'll follow up with him tomorrow. Okay. And once sort of the website launches and Brad Korn is secured and all that stuff, we can sort of plump up the
yeah, that's what I was going to say too. No, I'm not blaming anyone, Jesus. I'm just saying it was a little vague because we all didn't know exactly, who, if they were able to attend. And again, we're meeting in a couple of days on the website, and hopefully that'll get finished as well. It seems
that's exciting.
Getting close.
Yeah. Okay.
Beyond that, I don't know if we're addressing anything else, street remapping or any other issues. within the original 197A. I really did want to focus on this if we can. As Jesus said, plump it up a little bit, the agenda in terms of what we're discussing there. I'd like to really focus in on that first.
That's great.
And
Okay,
then
thank you.
Follow-up meetings.
All right, let's see. So budget, Brian or Rick? I don't know who.
It's Brian, because I collaborated with Rick on the agenda. We've gone over the items. We're agreeable on the date and time. We know it's going to be on Zoom. We reviewed all of the agenda items. Number 1 is very familiar to us. Number 2, that's a holdover, and we discussed that earlier. And I'm just going to present the idea. We're not voting on a resolution, but we're just going to discuss with the committee briefly whether we think it would help the board to have a sort of a resolution on file that we can refer to about user privacy and programs that are presented to us in case we ever have to bring it up again. Rick and I agree that we would have an agenda item about voting reform issues. We covered a lot of historical stuff with voting reform in ad hoc budget, but there's some new things that are on the governor's desk. There are some things that the governor might sign an executive order or something like that.
What if he signs them before your meeting? Will you discuss, will you take that off the agenda?
We will we'll just briefly mention that it's been covered. We'll ask if we have any questions. We'll move on, I guess.
Rick?
Yeah, I think I'd like to take it off and add it if nothing happens on the next, rather than leave it on and take it. I'd like to take it off now and add it later rather than.
I feel like in 3 weeks he'll have signed it. I think he's signing it
Yeah, I heard even this week. So
yeah.
I think we might as well get rid of that one. And the other one that Brian and I didn't really talk about specifically is I have some sort of housekeeping things I want to do as a new or returning chair.
Is it to pester the committee chairs? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Well, I'm gonna do that too, but I think we can put the item 3 as part of the chair's report as opposed to a separate agenda item. So we really only have the 2. The budget priorities and district needs is going to be a long discussion. So.
And I think Jesus said that each committee got their separated out budget needs. Did you guys all get your own personal lists? Parks Committee, Land Use Committee. Did you all get your list of the budget items from the FY21 or FY20? Is it FY20 or 21?
2020.
2021. No. Our old budget, our last year's.
21.
Did you sent that out, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, no, I received it, and I'm suggesting reordering, priorities. Basically.
Okay, good. No, that's exactly what we want. Okay, good.
We'll send it again.
Thank you.
You can't oversend. It's good.
Okay. Anything else on budget?
Not now.
Not now.
Okay, thanks, guys.
So wait, I have a question. Is this the time when I could ask about where the election boxes would be, or no?
No. we don't have any additional information on that at this time that either that we've been made aware of as a board or that I've been made aware of through the media. I know that there are some people that are working on ideas for this, but at the moment is it true that it's just the Board of Elections in each borough are the drop-off spots per county?
That will change. I think it'll change. Pam, let's wait. I'll keep you posted.
If it changes, we'll get an official word on that. But that's where we're starting from, and
yes.
Any other new proposal is still being worked on.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's move the agenda. Executive is the 16th, and then Corinne for Housing, Homeless, and Human Rights.
Hi. There's been a lot of back and forth. There's been a lot of meetings discussing a lot of very concerned different citizen groups about the people that are experiencing homelessness, moving into hotels within CB6. Right now, there is 3 locations, and a 4th one is just opened. And just what I am noticing is that everything is so reactionary. There's no solutions are being offered in any way, shape, or form other than get them out of our neighborhood. It's just kind of, and it's just all, these human beings are being put in hotels that should have never been in these kind of homeless situations and these conditions to begin with. And it's just kind of really, everything's kind of coming home to, like these, things are very systemic problems are really coming to light during all of this. And then on top of that, the NYPD is no longer responding to homeless issues, which they shouldn't, because being homeless is not a crime, and the NYPD is there to solve crime, not to make sure we don't have to see people in distress on the street. The problem is that there's no alternative being offered. So it just, none of it, a lot of it, basically, it just doesn't really make sense. I mean, HHR and CB6 has been asking for affordable housing and supportive housing and more homeless outreach for a long time. And as long as that doesn't happen, this problem isn't going to go away. And one of the things that I also wanted to kind of point out that, last year, our committee worked very hard with both Strauss houses and 344 East 28th Street, the only 2 NYCHA properties within CB6, who were already experiencing these problems that now the entire neighborhood is experiencing. The concerns and the conundrums are the same. You don't want to over police, yet the issues are real. People peeing in your hallway is a problem. So it's just so what I would like to do is kind of create a town hall / panel where I want to bring forward and discuss solutions as opposed to real solutions, and just kind of introduce our neighborhood to systemic solutions and what that looks like, upzoning, harm reduction sites so that drug use isn't happening on the street, public access to public restrooms. So we're still working on that. We had originally planned, again, and within the same theme, a presentation about the East 17th Street location that Good Shepherd runs for teenage girls. And in a way, maybe I can just kind of wrap it together and it can still come, because in the end, they're part of the solution, the work that they do there. And so that's our agenda.
So Corinne, I was going to ask, so we've asked for the number of the hotels that are housing homeless people and then just shelter people throughout our district, and then the adjacent districts, and then possibly, if they have it, then all of Manhattan, but really us in the adjacent districts, because CB5 has, as you know, CB4 and CB5 have like 32 hotels that are housing people that are in need. So I think we should definitely try to be talking to everyone. And I know we talked about breaking ground is at Dag Hammarskjöld. We need to someone contacting them.
Yeah, I mean, even like I was, that conversation the other day with the Dag Hammarskjöld people. was very frustrating because they came on to talk about a population coming into the Y on 47th Street, even though and these people aren't even in the Dag Hammarskjöld Park, and so.
But they were coming for a different issue, right? They were coming for people that people are defecating in their park, they're urinating in the park, they're mentally ill. In my neighborhood, as I think in all of your neighborhoods, there are people that are mentally unstable and they're screaming at little kids, and so there are real. I know you agree, like these are real issues for people, and if Breaking Ground is responsible for that and they're not being responsive, then we should be talking to Breaking Ground, and I can call them. I had them on my list to call today, but I can't get to it all. So like somebody,
I will reach out to them tomorrow.
I didn't mean to put on your plate. I'm just saying, like, maybe someone on your committee, but we should have a relationship with Breaking Ground. We do have a relationship, you do, with Muzzy at BRC.
I have a relationship with Breaking Ground. They are the ones that wrote the whole proposal for our budget to have a higher, to create a new area for them to work in within CB6.
Yeah, so all of this information, like the amount of methadone clinics that we have or other drug addiction recovery type clinics, we should know all of those in our district. We should know, we do know there are 4 shelters, 4 hotels, or 3 hotels in the YMCA that will be these types of temporary shelters. I mean, the YMCA Vanderbilt is a safe haven, right? That's a really nice, there's some nice services there, I think, if it works.
And I believe the other one, one of the other locations is run by Project Renewal, and they have services. The other 2,
they do a good job, and the other 2 are DHS.
Yeah, and then the problem is that some of these hotels, they're just being put in these hotels and there's 0 services because they're just coming from homeless shelters where there's no services.
So Asia and then Pam.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? I love the idea of doing a town hall, Corinne, just to help educate the community a little bit more about the broader perspectives and the broader sort of community solutions that we can do to help prevent this. I had 2 suggestions. Number one, it may be worth partnering with CB4 and 5 and doing something together, and because it's going to require a lot more buy-in beyond us, and I think it's going to help us, because I do think it might be hard to do a town hall where it doesn't become a venting session for community members. So managing that, maybe a bigger town hall may help. I don't know. It's something worth talking to them and seeing.
Yeah, no, it's one of my fears that it's going to turn into this NIMBY session where people are basically demanding that the cops come and put these human beings somewhere else, just not near them, and if eventually my head's just gonna blow, just gonna like it's like
and then one question though, Jesus, are we getting a lot of 311 complaints regarding the homelessness? Because my friend in the Upper West Side, CB7, said that she's trying to encourage them to use 311 and people are just trying to dial 911, and it's not like she's trying to get them. Like, are we seeing any of that kind of?
We're getting some emails in, not very many 311 complaints, and we recently got a contact number at the shelter, so that helps us deal with the complaints that we do get a little better. But no, not a lot of 311 complaints. But speaking of CB7, Corinne, you may want to inform the committee that CB7 is actually holding a meeting that's very similar to the one that you're envisioning, and that you said you'd attend.
What they're doing, they have 600 people that RSVP'd for that.
Wow.
They announced it yesterday. So I don't think it's going to be very, I don't know. Yeah.
And it's incredibly NIMBY, even like just from what I'm hearing from my friend over there, it's going to be intense.
They're very upset because it's a very controlled meeting. Everyone's on mute. I don't know. Maybe it's just even a panel. It's very controlled. You have to send in your questions in advance, which I think is smart, but I don't know how beneficial that kind of meeting will be for.
I mean, it has to be controlled. I mean, one of the things I would like to add to the panel or the town hall, even if it's just to dial down some of the kind of dehumanizing language, is to invite some people that are actually experiencing homelessness, and so that they can actually speak to their experiences. And I also think by having these individuals there, then maybe people will maybe watch how they speak a little bit. John is like,
I don't know. I've just been to so many noisy, obnoxious school meetings recently that I hope you're right. My advice would be turn off the chat function for that town hall.
Yeah, my
because,
advice would be
you know.
not to do it. You know, I have done a lot of that in my career. My comment, I'm afraid that it's going to be not in my backyard situation. So this has to be structured very carefully. I've run a number of advocates meetings on that, and they're very difficult.
We need to just say over and over 311, that's who you're supposed to call, don't do 911. I mean, education, and then also like Corinne's point is that to, not dehumanize people, but there are people that are not in any of those shelters, aren't in those hotels, aren't anywhere, and they're on our streets and they're really smelly. They are, they don't have public restrooms, so they're, urinating on themselves. There are some mentally ill people that need help, and I don't know what to do about that. That's a problem. They're not in those shelters. Those people aren't going to those shelters.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is why I think maybe I want to just have it into be more of a panel about systemic solutions as opposed to a town hall about, very specifically about these hotels. Yep. So if anybody has any brilliant ideas of what systemic solutions are, let me know. Inbox me.
One other question.
I'm sorry, Pam had a question, and then we'll go to Asia. Pam, you had a question?
Yeah, so Corinne, with Breaking Ground, don't you have a contract with them where they make a certain number of street visits and go see people? Because I know the bid has that with Urban Pathways, and they go out, we just call them. We don't call 311, you call them and they're on it, So I'm wondering what the contract is with Breaking Ground.
I mean, they have different areas. I can call them and ask to get more details. And I know when it came to the Dag Hammarskjöld, they said it was run by the Manhattan Consortium, and part of that was Breaking Ground. But yeah, I mean, there's homeless people in the United States, and they got to be somewhere.
So Corinne, I also want to add that I think it's a great idea. I know that there's some pushback on this, but to have actually a very articulate homeless person who can address some of the issues, I think it would be great to just have a face to it. So we're not talking at them or about them, but really with them.
Yeah.
Alcia has a good idea to ask Link NYC, the kiosk, to, if you see an issue on the street, I don't know how they would phrase that, but like if you see someone that needs services and help, dial 311, and maybe even to say it's not 911, dial 311, to clarify.
Yeah, and vote in politicians who are going to actually enact a true housing reform. Because really, this is really what's going to solve it. And there's no other final solution unless you want to go the German route. So
so Corinne,
can I just add a point of clarification? Breaking Ground has a contract with Grand Central bid, but it only covers a small portion of our district, just a narrow portion. Other than that, during the COVID crisis, if you call 311 and they try to connect you to Breaking Ground, their office has been closed. I don't know if that is still the situation, but you should check to find out what is going on with them.
Yeah, because yeah, that's good to know because I know BRC and DHS's teams are still out there, but maybe Breaking Ground isn't. You know.
So
It's
for
a-
this, for the sake of the, I'm sorry, for the sake of the agenda, because right now the agenda makes it sound more like a town hall. So we're going to change this language to panel discussion on long and short-term solutions to the city's homelessness crisis or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Cody said he was going to come up with something spiffy.
That sounds close to it, right? That sounds close, yeah.
Panel discussion on systemic solutions of the homeless crisis.
Long and short-term systemic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll shop some stuff, but we'll change it to that effect.
And then also presentation by Good Shepherd.
Well, I want to do only one of them, but I was thinking of maybe inviting Good Shepherd.
Okay, good.
So maybe just take number 2 off.
So then to close the loop, the Vanderbilt YMCA, after I jumped off that call, they said they didn't want to do a cab initially, but then they said they'd meet every 2 weeks with all of the stakeholders. Is that what they agreed? That's great. Okay.
Yeah, so that was great. That was like, I was really happy about that because that was basically my request. Like you have to have these meetings.
Yeah. Okay, Corinne, anything else? Oh, go ahead.
Rick?
Yeah, I just had 2 observations. One is we did a homelessness, or I don't know if we sponsored it or we just participated in it. It was a homelessness forum about 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. I think it may have been sponsored through the BP's office, and they did have participation by homeless people who helped people get I can't remember who was involved. Maybe maybe Claude will remember, or it was a very effective thing.
Picture the homeless, Rick.
I'm sorry?
Picture the homeless in the borough president's office.
Okay.
Oh, was it BP?
Yeah, okay.
They did a really nice job. Now, that kind of thing takes a ridiculous amount of time to prepare for, because of all the things you've pointed out, it's just going to turn into a shouting match no matter what you do, unless you tightly control the topics that are going to be covered, the agenda, how you're going to deal with it when it does get off track. I just don't want you to overpromise for next month. I mean, if we're only talking a month from now, that's not a lot of time to prepare for something that could end up attracting lots and lots of people. Fortunately, they won't be in the same room, so they can't physically kill each other. But it does get to be difficult to manage. Just a little bit of fair warning.
Right, Rick. I mean, I think I need to. I think it took me about 2 weeks to put together the hate crime forum, and I think if we start inviting people, we'll just have to run a really tight ship. I think we can pull it off.
You've done it in the past. That was a good one. The hate crime thing turned out to be really good.
Very good.
Now,
Okay,
just
thanks.
to interrupt, just a point of clarification for the housing agenda, the Good Shepherd Services item, should we take it off completely or move to October?
I think just take it off for now, because in October we were planning to do a 421A I guess forum.
Okay, good. All right. Anything else, Corinne, for you?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, health and education.
Yeah, hi,
John Keller?
thanks. And I've already occupied some airspace here, so I'll try to be quick. First of all, I would remove item 3, the draft resolution on overdose prevention sites. I think that's something that obviously is moving into the future. The other 2 items on the agenda are fairly ambitious, an update on school openings, but I think we should do it. And I was going to, excuse me, I was going to ask Donala Chumney, the superintendent of District 2, if she would come and report on the experience of the school reopening. And then it also dawned on me that we probably should get someone from the Office of High Schools, someone from Vivian Orland's office at Manhattan High Schools to report. This too could become a gripe session, but I just don't think we could ignore that, the schools are opening in great distress. Today, if you followed the news, the UFT has said that they're going to tell their teachers to have a sick out if every one of the 1.2 million kids isn't tested. And right now we do 50,000 tests a day in New York State. So gives you an idea of where this discussion is right now. But I do think I would like to have an update, and Donaldo will certainly have one prepared. And we could get some griping parents, or we might not get many parents. I just don't know. The second thing is I'd like to try to do something useful on the hospitals. You know, the hospitals have been so busy, but we do have Carlina Rivera, as one part of an intimate part of our district. If we could just get an update on readiness and maybe what they learned from the experience. I was even thinking of maybe we have a forum with Councilmember Rivera and the head of one of the hospitals, and just what was the experience and what's been learned from all of this, because there's a lot of noise in the news about it. And I was thinking of trying to do something like that.
Did she offer to come? Like, she wants to come?
No, I haven't asked her yet.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I mean, I was going to ask her if she would do this, or maybe send someone from her office.
Did you, just wondering if you saw her testimony that she did, I think last week?
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
In front of the state Senate, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, that's what gave me the idea of inviting her, actually, that, we could, but if I would also understand it's, if it's a hot topic and, maybe, she would send a member of her staff or something, but I just think we needed to do something without, in terms of responding and reporting on this. So those are the two things that, I'd like to do.
Okay, good.
John?
Yeah.
In a small way, you might consider reaching out to Brad, because they just did that yesterday for all of their cabs throughout the city. They gave an update. The fellow's name was Don Boss.
Could you just, go ahead.
Yeah, I can email it, but his name is Don Boss, and the lady's name is Vicky Lopatkin.
And what was the forum?
It was an update on COVID response, COVID-19 response. They talked about uses of convalescent plasma, algorithms for blood clotting. They talked about their experience with COVID-19.
That's good.
Okay, thank you. If you could send me the contact, because that would be, and then we could just ask Councilmember Rivera if she just wanted to be there and say a word.
Oh, I'm sure hopefully if she has time, she'd love to speak, John. I'm sure
she would
like to be invited. Yeah.
Okay, so
John,
this could be a full agenda. Yes.
John, are you reaching out to the superintendent's office in the high schools?
Yeah, I will reach out to the superintendents because I know them. I'll do that personally. Okay.
And the high school folks?
And also I know Vivian Orland. I will ask her, or her deputy Mark Rush, to make a report.
And do you will we or you reach out to Carlina Rivera's office?
I'm trying to think. We could. I mean, I guess I could reach out with a copy to you so that you're fully involved with it and engaged in it from the beginning.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to do that tomorrow if people think this is a good idea, and also reach out to Don and Vicki.
And we'll move the overdose prevention sites item to October and reevaluate then.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else, John?
No, I think I just want to thank Sandy and her committee, and Claire, and especially Matt Bondi for pulling together the resolution on PS 59. They just did a lot of work on this, and I think we have something useful here.
Good. All right. Thank you. All right. Kyle Bassa?
Everybody, as says, agendas information. We have been receiving some applications, which is pretty encouraging with everything that's going on. Usually it's basically the transfer of a business, a new owner is taking over spaces. So that's what we're seeing, but we'll see what happens come September, especially since the outdoor spaces are supposed to end at the end of October. So we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, we've been working on a lot of the quality of life issues that have popped up because of outdoor dining. So things like sanitation. We've been working on the business insurance and interruption insurance. So at our next meeting in August, we have the legislators' offices presenting on that. So we've been doing a lot of work on that. So we'll see what comes up in September. But our committee has been really engaged and involved and really proactive in being ahead of a lot of these issues. So shout out to my committee.
Yeah, you've done a great job, Kyle. I was going to say for sanitation, I know there are a lot of issues right now, and maybe they're not in our district as much as others, but I'm reading a lot about it. Would that come under BASA, or would that come under?
So it was, so we were receiving a lot of, so we were receiving a lot of complaints about restaurant sanitation about the outdoor spaces. So not properly cleaning up their outdoor dining spaces, and then their commercial waste, just, leaving bags and bags of garbage outside. So that was brought to us. So we discussed it. Happy to collaborate with anyone else on that. We already wrote a resolution on that, so we can discuss, because we haven't obviously brought it up to full board yet. So if another committee would be good to partner up on that. We are just specific to outdoor dining and commercial, but if people have sort of broader topics on sanitation, that's probably out of our jurisdiction. But we've been discussing that, so we're proactive on that.
Yeah, it's almost like a transportation / BASA issue that, but at some point personally, I would love to see solutions to what we do with our trash rather than throw these giant dirty garbage bags on our sidewalks. There's got to be.
That's like my side passion is garbage.
Me too.
I know, me
too.
Because I'm like, it's 2020 and we still put bags on the side of streets and have cars come and pick it up, and it's interesting to me. But yeah, for another day to discuss that more in depth.
Okay, we'll keep talking. Okay, anything else for you?
Nope, that's it.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Why don't we ever see you? Have you grown your beard so long, or your hair is so long?
I actually had my hair cut for a long time. Not cut for a long time, but I got it from the beginning. But Cody can attest to this. Anytime I turn on the video, my Zoom stuff doesn't work, and you can't hear or see me. So I just leave it off.
Yeah, okay. I'm just teasing you. All right.
That's his story, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah. Adams for land use and waterfront.
So it looks like we have 3 items to discuss on September 29th. The first one, which is highlighted, it's rescheduled. So wait, so are we not?
Oh, no, we just moved the date. It was Monday the 28th, but that's Yom Kippur, so we moved.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah. So we will be hearing about a new proposed, roughly 1,100 foot tall commercial tower as part of the Midtown East rezoning. And if I understand correctly, this will be a ULURP. Is that right?
Yes, but none of these are us. I don't think 1 and 2 are not in our district, but they're literally adjacent, right? They're just like a block or 2 off. And so they want to come to us. They feel like it's important. I think they're both CB5. Is that right, Jesus?
Right, yeah, it's Madison Avenue. So
that is correct. And number 1, the reason it's in red is because it's tentative, because we're still waiting on them to let us know that they're ready for the September meeting.
But I think it would be important, obviously, for us to hear them, and they want to come to us. So they're both literally adjacent.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of implications from this, with the various sorts of bonuses and compliances, and maybe some open space sort of things or transit improvements. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to say.
Yeah.
2, same vicinity, the Grand Central train shed. Again, I think similar things. There will be large impacts adjacent to our district, and maybe some open space improvements in the near future. 3, we've hinted on this. We've touched on this a bit in other discussions earlier in the meeting, but we'd like to hear an update from the ongoing sort of waterfront projects, specifically something from EDC regarding the pedestrian bridge at 54th Street, and anything regarding the ESCR along the waterfront. They don't necessarily have to come to the meeting, but as long as they can provide sort of a detailed update. I know EDC in the past says nothing, or excuse me, they don't say anything, but Will says there's no updates here. So as long as they can sort of provide something to the office, if they could come, that'd be great. But we just want to hear from them in one way, shape, or form, and we'll discuss those things as well. But that's pretty much from us.
Okay, we should definitely invite them. And I did attend the last ESCR CAG,
Right.
the Community Advisory Group. And so hopefully someone from your land use committee can join that. Sandro's on there now with me, but I know he's busy, he can rarely join. So that's, you know, a lot of groups kind of opposing the project, but really they were very, the last CAG was talking about jobs, bringing, you know, the people in the, mostly Community Board 3, people in the NYCHA developments there, they were asking about jobs. And they were really excited about the art construction walls, the art program that will come up on the construction walls. So it was really not, it was a pretty good conversation. The project's moving forward, it's on time, it's starting this fall, late fall. So we'll start losing some park space. I don't know if this was before the meeting started, but the Glick Park has this sinkhole.
Yeah,
and
we talked about
Community
it.
Board 8 has some very serious giant sinkholes. And so Congresswoman Maloney was attending an event that we were all at, this Parks Community Board 8 was attending. And she said, how do we need to coordinate a call with CB8, CB6 and talk about our waterfront. So I'm all for that, to get Congresswoman Maloney, you know, in support and helping us budget, because all these ideas, even that bridge, Sam Schwartz idea for the bridge, like we have, our waterfront is falling into the water, you know, into the East River, and you know, we need some improvements. So she's wanting to help us. So we have, I think, someone from the office is trying to coordinate with her office, EDC, parks, electeds, and again, like it's Parks Committee and Land Use and Waterfront Committee, but we have little sinkholes, but that whole Glick Park Pier is compromised. That's going to be, you know, going to go away in the next 4 years for refurbishing. So we have a lot of issues. So I'm happy to say that she was really willing to kind of get on a call with us. She said, let's set up a big Zoom meeting and move that forward. So just FYI to all of you, but specifically to the land use chair.
I reached out to the Congresswoman's office and they're checking on her schedule.
Okay, thank you. And then of course CB8, right? Because Trish, I think in that board wants to be involved. Will Fisher for the EDC, the 54th Street is moving forward. I think it's just on pause right now, but it's moving forward. The Water Club, which you all know their lease doesn't expire till 2030. EDC said they're still trying to figure out how to kind of like work around that because they're closed to the public. This restaurant that's just sitting there on our waterfront. But he asked us how we can activate their parking lot. He said the owner of that restaurant is saying, how do we, tell us what you need to, they're willing to let us use their parking lot for activation. So anyway, just throwing that out there. Maybe that could be an older new business for land use.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to discuss it. I mean, what are sort of the strings attached with that? I mean, if we just showed up one day with a bunch of lawn chairs, nobody's going to chase us off with brooms, are they? I mean,
I think it's weekends. We need to give them hours, and they want
Okay.
they're asking like concessions, farmers market, but we have a lot of concrete parts of our waterfront that there aren't any tables or chairs. There's there's no
Right.
shade. It's
Right.
not very welcoming, but they're willing to do that at least for now for us. So
That's good to hear.
something, yeah. And then finally, I don't know who else was on this call except for the office and myself, and maybe were you on this, Adam? But
I think it was on
Con Ed,
vacation.
the water main project, which is 32nd to 36th Street, 1st Avenue to 3rd Avenue. It's a 4-year project. It was supposed to end next spring. They told us about a month ago that it would be extended for 2 to 3 years. It's quite intrusive, traffic, noise. There's all these buildings coming down and new buildings coming up. So it's kind of a whole, and they're taking up several lanes of traffic with their staging areas, 33rd. And anyway, I don't know if all of you know, I'm just sharing this, but we got on a call with DDC, Con Ed, and I think that was really it. Who am I missing, Jesus?
Some elected offices.
Yes, thank you. And and I think they kind of coordinated. They told us like some problem areas, but they heard us. They spoke with each other because they were on the call together. So it moved that project forward. I think it's not going to be a 2 or 3 year delay, but it'll be a delay because Con Ed, there's just some obstruction underground. You know, the infrastructure underneath our streets is really complicated, and Con Ed has some.
Do we want to make that an agenda item?
Yeah, you know, yeah. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. They do. They said they would come, and it's September. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, then let's definitely make that an agenda item. And similar to the other updates, like that's something that we constantly want to have sort of constant feedback, you know?
Yeah, this is a lot of things, right? But maybe if it's just an update from EDC Parks, if, you know, just a quick ESCR Parks mitigation, the water main, quick update. They're working together to try to come up with some solutions. I think they're going to. I mean,
Con Ed's only talked to you guys. They haven't necessarily talked to the committee or at large. So
they should come.
Right,
yes,
they should come.
So Jesus, you know what that would say? I don't know.
Update about the
DDC water main project or something.
They we can call it something more general, like the Kips Bay water main project, or the so that folks in Kips Bay would know, oh, maybe I'll come to listen to this or something like that. We can call it the Second Avenue water main project, which is I think what the official name of it is. But
okay.
You know, it expands beyond Second Avenue. That's why I was just
maybe you say Second Avenue and you say, like, you know, 30. Is it 33rd to
30? Yeah, 33rd.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
We'll shop something up. We'll shop something up.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry that we're going long, you guys. Anything else, Adam?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So is there anything else? Is there any old or new business? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
I'll see you second. Adam seconding. All right. Thanks, everybody. Go have dinner.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.